Abdication. I wasn't aware that was something a pony could do. Princess Celestia sighed on the palace balcony. The moon shone brilliantly through her glorious white feathers.
Sister, where wert thou? Thy disappearance has sent the palace into a tizzy. Forgive me, Luna. I'm sure it was quite unexpected. And dramatic. There are scorch marks upon the dining table from that explosion, and a few upon Duchess von Pickleworts. Thou art unharmed, though? I'm quite alright, I assure you. Is the Duchess safe? If anything, she slightly improved in my estimation. She stopped screaming when the dessert arrived. I see. One moment, then.
She stepped over to the parapet, took a deep breath, and then bellowed in her best Canterlot voice.
It's alright, my little ponies! There's nothing to worry about!
Luna took a step back, pushed by the wave of air. Celestia turned and said something.
Pardon?
Shouted Luna. With a slight frown, Celestia said something else.
We hear thee not!
Replied Luna, waving a wing at her ear. A few minutes later, the royal hoofmaiden of the kettle, First Flush, was delicately pouring them a late tea in one of the palace's near infinite number of little parlors.
Can you hear me now? It seems our hearing has returned. I beg you, do not endanger it further tonight.
Celestia rolled her eyes.
Pray tell us, where wert thou? Dialect, Luna. A pox on thy dialect. Where were you? I was summoned to the celestial plane.
Luna straightened.
Truly. The one with all the sparkly pictures? We have not seen that place since our own ascension. Does that mean...
Celestia nodded.
It does. Twilight Sparkle has become a princess.
Luna gasped.
We were afraid 'twould never happen. And did you impress the import of her new rule upon her? Don't worry, Luna. Once we return to the real world, I bowed down before her as I proclaimed that she is the princess now. Thou didst. A little dramatic, but certainly effective. We wish that we could have seen that. Indeed, but you can have no doubt. At last.
Breathed Luna with a sigh.
We can retire. No more tedious politics, no more stuffy finance, and no more boring dinners with self-important nobles. No more tortuously convoluted centuries-long plans.
Added Celestia.
Speak for thyself, sister. Such plans were always thy shtick. Well, I wouldn't say that they're my shtick. I don't have a shtick. Or do I? Where do you even hear that word? And where is Mistress Twilight, Princess Twilight now? She's on the night train to Camelot. She'll be here in a few hours and we need to plan her coronation. We must make it a grand and gay ceremony. Leave no doubt in our ponies' minds that Mistress Twilight is their new imperatrix.
Celestia winced.
We don't say that anymore, Luna. Say what, imperatrix? I fear that grip has gone soft, sister. The sooner thou relieve of commands, the better. That's not... Never mind, I'm sure you'll work it out.
Luna dunked a biscuit in her tea.
Admit it, thou will miss thy convoluted plans. Perhaps a little.
The doors closed on the private drawing room, and finally Princess Luna relaxed.
'Twas a good coronation,
she said with a sigh, lifting her petrol off and resting it on a stand.
It was indeed,
agreed Celestia, settling into her familiar cushion.
I was quite taken with the procession around the city, allowing their populace to see the new imperatrix up close in such a modern notion. 'Twould have never flown during our era.
The smaller staff door opened to admit First Flush, carrying a tray on her back. The scent of a delicate white tea followed her as she set the tray on the little table, gently swirling the pot and preparing teacups for the two princesses. Celestia watched the ceremony appreciatively.
Thank you, my dear. I shall miss you.
First Flush paused, cup and hoof.
Miss me, princess?
She asked nervously.
Of course. I'm sure your service to Princess Twilight Sparkle will keep you too busy to visit two old mares in their retirement. Where shall we retire, sister?
Asked Luna.
I thought that we might first lodge at our retreat in Elm Hollow. We can take the morning train and then make our plans from there. After all, neither of us were expecting Twilight to replace us so quickly.
First Flush cleared her throat.
Princess? Twilight, or that is to say Princess Twilight Sparkle, has gone back to Ponyville.
The two princesses hesitated.
She has?
Asked Celestia.
Yes. I believe Captain Shining Armor escorted the princess and her friends to the station right after the coronation. Oh, that's odd. I expect that she has belongings to retrieve.
Pondered Luna.
And ponies to say goodbye to.
Added Celestia.
Friendships and memories that are not so readily discarded. Of course. She'll be back in a day or two to take up her royal duties. Let us grant her the short time to ensure her throne is ready. It has been a week now, sister,
said Princess Luna, sitting down for breakfast, or in her case, dinner.
Yes, Luna,
grumbled Celestia.
I know. We have already cleared our belongings from the royal suite. The palace guest rooms may be comfortable, but the guards and housekeepers are beginning to gossip. Yes, Luna.
She repeated.
I know.
Luna's end of the great breakfast table was speckled with a creeping layer of frost, while the varnish was peeling off under the heat at Celestia's end. First Flush trembled as she poured a cup of tea from a safe distance. She yelped and spilled a little when Celestia stomped her hoof on the table. The puddle quickly boiled away.
What is she doing? Doesn't she realize that she's the princess now? Such dalliance is unbecoming. Perhaps thy student requires a firmer hint that the throne awaits her. But we had a coronation. Cheering crowds, livery, the works. How much more of a hint does she need?
First Flush backed respectfully out of the room. The second she was out of sight, she fled to her quarters.
Agent Sweetie Drops, thank you for coming to see me. What's word on Princess Twilight?
The mayor bowed low before the princess.
There is little to report, Your Highness. Since her return from Canterlot, Princess Twilight has simply resumed her work as the librarian. Resumed her work? So, she isn't packing or saying goodbye? Not that I can tell, no. I see. And did you ask her about her new role as Princess Regnant of Equestria? I tried to, Princess.
Sweetie Drop shuffled her hooves.
I really did. And what was her response?
Prompted the princess.
She lent me a book.
Admitted Agent Sweetie Drops.
A book? A recipe book on subtle Arabian sweet pastries. It's actually quite interesting. I see. I may have to branch out.
Celestia pressed her hoof against the bridge of her muzzle.
Perhaps should we make her a larger crown? She already has a larger crown than either of us. It's the accursed element of magic. Do you know where it is now? It's in a display cabinet in the Ponyville Library, with a little typed label next to it saying Element of Magic, circa AC1 with modifications AC 1109. And it has not yet been stolen. Remarkable. Maybe if it was stolen, she'd learn to value it a little more.
Celestia greeted her sister with a nod.
I hear you've moved back into your royal suite?
Luna slumped into a chair, the night's work showing on her face.
We have. 'Tis pointless to pretend any longer that Twilight Sparkle is come to relieve us, because clearly she's not. We'll see,
said Celestia, sipping her tea. Luna narrowed her eyes.
What are you planning? Planning?
Asked Celestia innocently.
Oh, I recognize the signs full well, sister. Thou have a scheme afoot. Good morrow, Sister Fair.
Celestia murmured something which may have been dialect, had it not been smothered by a yawn.
A letter arrived while thou slumbered,
said Luna, waving an envelope around and clearly enjoying it.
You'll have to be more specific, Luna. I get approximately, all the mail every day. Is this one from a suitor wishing to claim my hoof? Oh, or a sighted noble seeking recompense, or an artist to whom I'm the eternal muse? Oh, an ambassador who thinks that I can handle international trade deals personally for some reason, or another poor pony seeking reimbursement after a visit from Twilight. This is one from thy co-conspirator.
Celestia's eyes snapped open. She yanked the letter into her own field, turning it around to check the sender's cutie mark on the back.
Truly. Truly. Now hurry, sister, and read it. 'Twas only respect for thee that stayed my hoof against such burning curiosity.
Solar Magic tore the envelope open, charring the edges and leaving a faint wisp of smoke.
Yada yada, eternal majesties, yada yada, miss the sight of, yada yada. Yes, get to the good bit. What does Sunset Shimmer have to say? Here we are. The theft went according to plan. Aye, we saw that much. What happened on the other side? As we agreed, she hid the crown, then she, yada yada, tricked Twilight into competing for the crown in a princess election? Whatever that is. An unsettling concept, but leaving that aside, we assume that Twilight bested her in this contest and so demonstrated herself the better princess. She did, yada yada, won the election, and the crown was returned without further incident. Excellent! A most delightful scheme, sister, and one in which it seems nothing went awry. And we thought Princess Twilight could not possibly take worse care of her crown. Now it seems that she has fed it to a tree. That's the Tree of Harmony, Luna. It's where the elements came from. Aye, we remember it well. 'Twas a miserly old shrub, and even then it would not part with the elements without us first completing 6 quite pointless tasks. The element bearers have simply returned them to the tree where they belong. It's an act of mercy. 'Tis raining on a deal. We traded fairly for those 6 enchanted baubles, and now it has stolen them back. We are of half a mind to turn that jumped-up lichen into firewood.
Celestia looked thoughtful.
On the contrary, stay our hoof, Luna. Perhaps the Tree of Harmony could be the solution to our very problem. Excellent work, Agent Sweetie Drops. The explosives that you planted in that gaudy old library went off perfectly. It looked very impressive and perfectly timed. You were watching, princesses? We were,
replied Luna.
We may have parted with our alicorn magic, but a scrying spell is not beyond us, and it was a lovely show. Oh, thank you. Do thank Master Tarek for his little performance as well,
added Celestia.
And inform him that his sentence has been commuted as agreed. Where did you even find an actor like that, sister?
Asked Luna.
Well, I found it best to keep some convenient enemies to hands for when you need one. Speak of Discord, and he doth appear.
Discord popped his head out of Luna's mane. Well, if you insist, he said. He was wearing a thick fur hat and holding a glass with a little umbrella in it. Whatever liquid was in the glass throbbed orange and green.
Sister, aid me! My mane is infested! And thank you to Discord. Your betrayal and flow were most convincing. Get it off me!
Cried Luna, batting at Discord with her hooves. He dodged and wove every blow, keeping his glass level.
We even got the Tree of Harmony to build her a brand new castle, and what does she do? She turns it into a library.
Luna found her sister with a head under a pillow, hooves pressed down to keep it over her eyes.
Sister?
She sat by the bed, and gently rested a hoof on her sister's withers.
We saw Twilight and her pet leaving. Did she say something to upset thee? She wants to do a play,
mumbled Celestia from beneath a pillow. Luna paused.
A play? Forgive us, sister, we do not see the problem. She said that is the 1111th anniversary of the day that I first raised the sun. The once-anniversary, she called it. Ah. So, of course, she wants to reenact the events exactly as they happened. And she wants me there to help her get it right. She doesn't know, does she? No, but she's going to find out. What if she finds something in the records? No pony alive in centuries, save for us two in Star Swirl, even suspects that the— Stop!
Celestia's head popped up, the pillow still perched on top.
Don't say it, Luna. You don't know who might be listening.
She gasped.
Star Swirl! I'd forgotten about Star Swirl! Star Swirl can be contained. We heard that he was interested in attending a friendship university. Perhaps we might arrange for a well-timed state scholarship? And if I let something slip? Surely thou can contain thyself. One memory out of a millennium. The worst possible memory.
The pillow finally slipped down to her hooves, uncovering a bedraggled celestial mane.
Aye, but one thou can choose to suppress. I just know I'm going to screw up, Luna.
Luna patted her sister's shoulder.
Then simply absent thyself from this play. Refuse to take part due to thy many duties. What duties? We're trying to convince her to do her job, aren't we? Until then, we're just keeping the throne warm for her.
A smile started to play across Luna's muzzle.
Then perhaps we can excuse thee from both the play and the throne at once. All we need to do is demonstrate thy utter infirmity, perhaps even thy declining faculties. And even thy devoted students must acknowledge the need to step into a rightful place. Didst thou hast to raise thy son?
Chided Luna, slipping further into her dialect.
Happily to purloin mine own beloved knight. I'm sorry, Luna, I had no other choice. No choice but to rearrange the very heavens themselves rather than face an awkward conversation. Did thou not realize that the whole world would be affected?
She cast a glance to the guild doors behind which an unruly gathering could be heard, growing louder by the minute.
'Tis not even dawn, yet already a score of ambassadors have come to treat with thee. I know,
mumbled Celestia, her head down.
I suppose we have to face them. We? Nay, sister dearest,
replied Luna, opening the door and shoving Celestia through it into the reception room full of angry dignitaries.
This is thy hate, lion. We shall be going to bed. Surely she hath some apprehension of the truth by now. It would seem not. Twilight still sends me friendship letters, you know, like a little filly.
Celestia levitated a scroll across.
Her latest one here is about not letting her enthusiasm for a quiz or game overwhelm consideration for her friends' feelings. Truly? No fool could possibly...
Luna paused, then straightened up as her eyes grew wide. Celestia noted the change.
What is it, Luna? Sister, we do believe that we have an inkling of the truth. You do? Then tell me, please, I'm at my wit's end here. It is simple, yet explains so much.
She paused to take a breath.
We suspect that thy student is pranking thee.
Celestia straightened up.
What? We have both seen Twilight mature into a pony well aware of her duties, have we not? One who values both friendship and seeks to spread its blessing across the world. She has gladly acted as our ambassador to several nations, yet whenever the subject of her ascension arises, she acts as 'twere inconceivable. You really think that she'd keep a prank like that going for 3 years? Doesn't that make more sense than that she would remain so oblivious?
Celestia pondered the idea.
She is friends with Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie. 2 ponies known for elaborate nay, excessive pranking. You have a point, but still, it's hard to believe that she's kept it up for this long. She never really did have much of a poker face. All the better to deceive thee. She has lulled thee into a false sense of security through feigned veracity over the course of years. Alright, suppose I accept that she's bluffing. What can we do about it? We must call her bluff. The time has come for us to abandon all subtlety. I haven't been particularly subtle,
grumbled Celestia.
Even so, we must tell her most bluntly of our immediate abdication. She will have no recourse then, but to admit to her jape. Immediate? Won't you think it's strange for us to announce it like that? She'll probably think that we're dying or running from our debts or something. All the better. The mystery shall cause her to imagine any number of dire causes, each more pressing than the last, and provided that we give no explanation at all, will remain possible. She will do our work for us. We do admit, sister, that could have gone better. Oh, really? Because I thought she was gonna drop dead on the spot. If we hadn't arranged for the medic to be ready with a dart gun, we might now be looking for a new successor.
Luna shuddered.
Pray tell, what narcotic was the dart loaded with? It seems most effective. Oxymorphone.
Luna looked blankly at her sister.
It's... opium? Okay, it's basically opium. Ah, yes. Still, at least we're finally rid of that miserly tree. Perhaps, but sadly it took the elements with it. Yet Twilight clearly doesn't need them. She was able to summon the power of harmony directly, so I say, good riddance. Oh, thank the stars she took it. With a device to control the sun and moon in her hooves, she will have no excuse to call on us. Indeed. Art thou packed for our holiday, sister? I am, and the palace guards and servants have all been told that we'll be away for a while. Then let us be away. If we make haste, I wager that we can reach Griffinstone ere she notices.
I love how this whole story was like a timeline of what the princesses were thinking throughout each and every season ever since season 3. It's a very interesting concept, and this story executed it so damn well. I just never thought that retirement as a princess would be a very difficult ride. Anyway, let's get on to our unstoppable donators. Top donators: TacoCat598, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, Darkside, Gauntlet, and Only One Thing. Zar630, Strix, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Drake Lovedragon, Pastel Skies, Magazine, Crazy Killer 557, Dospo, Madman Stan, Delta Omega, Jack Hedge, RuneScythe9052, Hunson Norman, Stephen Bingham, McDoofus456, Dash of Evergreen, Ronnie Dragonwolf, Ponyman, Tal Rasha, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brethren Mordred, Ronan Wandering, Random Person Man Guy, Easy, Skyogia, Leslie Prickett, Jordan Peterson, Crimson Kitten A9, Lightskin, Monster Kitty, Needs a Life, Mlan Biahanek, and many more brilliant people. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.